Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of Verdi's Rigoletto with conductor Diego Mateus, which I saw at the Staatsoper unter den Linden. This marks the second time I saw this production of Rigoletto because I wanted to see Aida Garifullina perform the role of Gilda live. And of course, we cannot forget that the Monterone of tonight, Giorgi Mtchedlishvili, is also celebrating his birthday. So this review is practically my birthday gift to him. So I would like to start off with Aida Garifullina as Gilda. I've been following her career for roughly 4 years, and what she seems to specialize in is a lot of roles from the coloratura and light lyric soprano repertoires. And what I noticed about her voice is that it has sufficient opulence and it has that sparkling and lovely quality, especially in the high notes and the middle register. In fact, it sounds rather lovely and lyrical and quite full sounding, yet still maintains that girlish charm. And that vocal quality is quite the perfect fit with roles like Gilda, Adina, and Juliet. And I thought that she managed to sell it as Gilda, both vocally and theatrically. Obviously, she looks the part. She's young and fresh and is rather sleek looking with her slim and absolutely waif-like physique, which she was able to pull off so well in this particular heroine. Her voice could be a lot more opulent, show a lot more sheen, and be at its full potential if she can continue to work on her chest tones and be unafraid to reach those depths as well, because that is where all the action starts. And while I do love her overall technique in terms of how she was able to navigate the role of Gilda, especially in the high notes, whether it be her high E flat in Si Vendetta or even that high D flat, which she was able to hit with such pinpoint accuracy in Caro Nome, or even that high D in the storm scene. She managed to do a very fine job. So I do hope that Miss Garifullina does not squander her talent, because this is a pretty nice voice that has all the potential to grow more lyrically. I cannot wait to see her in roles such as Antonia from Le Comte d'Hoffmann, Melisande from Peleas et Melisande, Corina from Il Viaggio a Reims, and even Ilia from Idomeneo. The possibilities for this young soprano are absolutely endless, and she definitely showed a lot of potential to keep on growing as a fine singing actress. Now, for those of my longtime viewers, you all know that I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Francesco Demuro. On the one hand, I really appreciate his passion. I appreciate everything that he managed to inject in each and every role he sings. He injects them with a lot of bravado and so much confidence, enthusiasm, and of course, charisma. And I can never go wrong with him in the high notes, and especially in terms of how he was able to bring his voice up to the higher register where it sounded so beautiful and so awesome and so thrilling. On the other hand, I kind of can't stand the middle range of his voice, because that is where he keeps everything in terms of the middle range within the mask area, and it sounds so nasal. In fact, that's kind of Francesco Demuro's Achilles heel. His middle range, which he places almost every single time in the mask to the point where it sounds nasal and not really that pleasant to listen to, unless they forget that all the action should be in the pharynx. So I'm pretty sure that if Francesco Demuro gets rid of the nasality, the mask singing, and other inhibitions that kind of hinder him from becoming a great singer, and use a lot more pharynx to give his voice a lot more dimension, as well as develop his chest tones a lot more, so that everything about his voice can sound a lot more coordinated and a lot more ringing, then I'm pretty sure that he can reach greater heights. Even if I were to take those issues away, Francesco Demuro continues to be as dedicated, passionate, and absolutely charismatic as a performer. There's something so hypnotic about him, to the point where I would like to keep rooting for him, and I would like to keep seeing him go from strength to strength, because he's got great material to work off of, and I do not want to see him squander his great talent, nor the great potential that he has to keep improving and to keep on rocking the stage. 3 months ago, I was so fortunate to witness Christopher Maltman tackling Rigoletto. And here he was in all of his glory, in all of his prime, and in all of his majesty, taking on the role once again. Sure, he is no Apollo Granforte, nor is he a Carlo Tagliabue, or even that of a Lawrence Tibbett, Giovanni Ingheleri, Mattia Battistini, Ettore Bastianini, Josef Metternich, Herbert Janssen, or even that of Robert Merrill, who is my personal favorite Rigoletto, because those gentlemen had much richer voices, more focused techniques, and of course, a lot of true pharyngeal singing. That's not to discredit Christopher Maltman in terms of how much dedication, diligence, and hard work that he managed to inject as the titular character. He sounded so much better. He had every piece of action happening in the pharynx, and he managed to rock the theater so well and so effectively. I was practically amazed at his vocal development in terms of how he was able to make his voice huge and ringing. He definitely sold it in this role, and he continued to show just how much endurance and just how much strength he had as a wonderful singing actor. Returning as Sparafucile was Gregory Scharpa. Yes, he was slightly better from when I saw him 3 months ago, but other than that, I still felt like his voice was lacking in a lot more depth and that typical basso cantante / basso profondo darkness and blackness that I deeply enjoy. I have at my disposal all of my favorite Sparafuciles, such as Ezio Pinza, Alexander Kipnis, Virgilio Lazzari, Giulio Neri, Giorgio Tozzi, Jerome Hines, Cesare Siepi, Marty Tovala, Nikolai Gyaurov, Nikola Gusalev, Robert Lloyd, and even Italo Tayo and Samuel Ramey. Those were definitely my ideal voices for Sparafucile. Oh, unless I forget about the epic voices that were Gottlob Frick and Kurt Böhme, as well as Josef Greindl. Those were definitely the gold standard when it came to rich, dark, well-developed, strong, and absolutely huge basso voices who know how to make Sparafucile a dangerous and absolutely threatening character. I could still give Gregory Scharpa some credit in terms of how he was able to embody Sparafucile. He still continues to use his tall stage presence and his overall manner to bring this character to life, though I do wish he could develop his chest tones and the overall roundness and richness of his voice a lot more, because he does have good and interesting material to work with. It's just that his voice needs a whole lot more development and a whole lot more digging into those chest tones so that they can reach basso cantante / basso profondo depths. Celebrating his birthday as of this midnight is none other than Giorgi Mtchedlishvili, who returned as Monterone. And what more can I say about this young gentleman in terms of that full-bodied, full-toned, cello-like, rich, and absolutely well-focused, dramatic baritone voice that we desperately need more of these days. He continues to be as strong as ever in terms of his characterization, and he continues to show that he has a lot of potential to grow as an awesome dramatic singer, and I do wish him all the best. Sure, there's still that woolliness that he has in his voice, which I hope he does get rid of so that his voice will sound a lot freer, a lot richer, a lot rounder, and a lot more ringing throughout the theater. Because as it is, he does have awesome material to work off. He's got a strong, dominating, and commanding stage presence. And that's what you need in order to embody the role of Conte Monterone. So here is hoping for his very special day that he will get a lot more awesome engagements and even get all of those wonderful leading male roles that I'm pretty sure he's been working so hard for. And here's hoping to a lot more success, especially in the dramatic baritone repertoire. Who knows? I'd love to see him tackle some Wagner one day, and even more Germanic works. The possibilities for Mr. Mtchedlishvili are absolutely endless. Mariana Pencheva was an alright Maddalena. While I do appreciate the chest tones which she was able to produce in some of the moments which she saw fit, there were times that her voice did sound pretty woofy and hollow, which is a huge shame because Mariana Pencheva specializes in a fine length and width of roles from both the dramatic mezzo-soprano repertoire and the deep contralto repertoire. Roles such as Azucena, Ulrica, and Amneris come into my mind, as these were roles that she has been performing for decades. And hearing her as Maddalena, especially combined with my experience of listening to some clips of her on YouTube, I am constantly reminded that there were better and more focused and more well-developed mezzo-soprano voices who also sang Maddalena. Voices that come into my mind are the likes of Gabriela Besansoni, Eve Stignani, Irene Mengini Cataneo, Chloe Elmo, Fedora Barbieri in her prime, Fiorizza Cortez, Nell Rankin, Nan Merriman, Huguette Tourangeau, Mariana Lipovshek, and even the great Elena Obraztsova and Irina Arkhipova. Those voices, especially that of Elena Obraztsova, are my ideal standard of what Maddalena should sound like. As for Mariana Pencheva, she kind of pales in comparison to those aforementioned mezzos, especially Elena Obraztsova, who totally sold it in that role and is my personal favorite Maddalena. However, I could still give Madame Pencheva some credit in terms of her strong stage presence and how much life she was able to breathe into Maddalena. Natalia Skritska was a solid Giovanna. She does have a lovely stage presence. She managed to keep herself well composed, and she managed to find the best in this fine character part. However, for those of you who know me, I do appreciate it when any Giovanna has those chest tones and uses them to great advantage. The ones that come into my mind that really know how to put in some great chest tones for Giovanna are Fedora Barbieri and Anna Di Stasio. Natalia Skritska does have a pretty long way to go, but nonetheless, she still has a very finely tuned and really lovely sounding mezzo-soprano voice that has all the potential to grow into a much more developed sound. If she can keep embracing the chest voice and use those chest tones to her advantage and really dig into them every single step of the way, I'm pretty sure we can have a solid voice that can sing a lot of great roles in the mezzo-soprano repertoire. There was also some equally fine singing from Eric Rosenius's tall, handsome, and absolutely fine contesoprano, who nonetheless needs to work on getting rid of that woolliness found in his voice so that his voice could sound richer and fuller, especially in future engagements. Adam Kutny's finely tuned, cello-like, focused, and clear-sounding Marullo, who also has a lot of potential to keep growing as a fine baritone with a brilliant future ahead of him. Andres Moreno Garcia's handsome, dashing, awesome, and wonderfully toned Borsa, whose lyric tenor voice was so addicting to listen to that I am fully convinced that he is going to reach awesome new heights. And Victoria Randim's lovely and sweetly toned Contessa Ceprano and Page Boy. She definitely has a nice future ahead of her, and I certainly hope that she also takes on roles such as Gilda, Nanetta, and even that of Musetta. So overall, the singing was surprisingly great, especially coming from someone who shows a lot of potential, such as Aida Garifullina, and someone who nonetheless throws himself into each and every role he does, such as Francesco Demuro, the absolute powerhouse that was Christopher Maltman as Rigoletto, and of course, Giorgi Mtchedlishvili, who stole the show as Il Conte Monterone. Each and every singer certainly had something strong to offer, and the results were absolutely fantastic. And the conducting done by Maestro Diego Mateus was wonderfully brisk, energetic, and well timed. He was completely meticulous in terms of what he was able to produce from the orchestra, and of course, the chorus and the orchestra of the Staatsoper unter den Linden were phenomenal all the way through, even though the orchestra did show some hiccups, especially in the overture and in the beginning of Cortigiani vil razza danata. I could still give them credit because they are pros from beginning to end. So overall, with some surprisingly decent singing from Aida Garifullina, such charisma to be found in Francesco Demuro, and of course, the continuously strong efforts by Christopher Maltman to let Rigoletto shine as a character. And let's not forget about Giorgi Mtchedlishvili stealing the show as Monterone, especially on his very special day. Tonight's performance of Rigoletto was quite the treat. And to Giorgi Mtchedlishvili, I wish you all the best in everything you do as a wonderful singing actor. I hope that you can keep going from strength to strength with every engagement you have, and I hope that you will stay as strong and awesome as ever. And for those of you who caught this production of Verdi's Rigoletto at the Staatsoper unter den Linden, what did you think of it? Did you feel like Aida Garifullina did a great job as Gilda? Did you feel that Francesco Demuro, or even that of Christopher Maltman or Giorgi Mtchedlishvili, stole her thunder? Did you also feel like there was another singer who was just as great as them? Or did you feel like there was someone who stuck out like a sore thumb? Comment below and let me know. Well, that's all for now. be sure to tune in tomorrow for my review of Janacek's Katya Kabanova, starring Karita Matila as the Kabanika. So until then, good night, everybody.